Hi and welcome to Loopy Stuff on YouTube, and today we're going to do a little take-apart job on a Fulton 800 Sunvisor. And we've had a lot of questions about, well, how do you get this apart, or how do you not do that, etc. So maybe this short little video will help you. I'll try to go through fairly quickly, but not too quickly. When I get a Fulton 800 Sunvisor here, first thing I do after getting it home carefully is I'm going to take it apart and get it ready for prep it for sanding. And first thing I do is try to take off the side brackets. These are all the tools that I'll need: a small screwdriver, 2 flat edge screwdrivers, a pair of vice grips, a hammer, and a little can of WD-40 just in case. Now I've gone ahead and sprayed all the ends of the brackets, like here on the screw and here, and centers with WD-40, so we're already set on that. And first thing I do to get a bracket off is, and I'll try to show it to you here, is I'm going to take a screwdriver and my hammer, and I'm going to try to come in between the bolt and the screw, and I don't know if you can see this, but right in here, and I'm just going to tap it a couple times. That's just trying to free it up. There might be some paint that's holding or whatever. The Fulton mounting screws for the brackets were made out of aluminum, so they will tend to give on you if you've got a real tight one, and they will break. We've got a replacement bolt that is available at Lowe's that is about 1/4 of an inch longer, and that's it. Let's see if we can get these end brackets off here real quick. And yep, these are nice and easy. Some of them will come right off, some of them will twist off, and some of them will take you 10 minutes of messing with it before you can finally get it off. But the hardware is replaceable. I'll take that right off. This is going to make it easier for us to work on it. And this is a small set screw for the connecting rod that we're going to remove. And we'll put that right back in it so we don't lose it. This is a good thing to do with all these Fulton pieces, is keep your hardware all separate in a little container, or put them right back to where they were. And we're going to come back to these brackets. So you've gotten the one off, and we'll spin it around here, set the hammer out of the way, and this one looks like it may be a good one for us too. There we go, and it's going to come right off also. Vice grips are great because you can lock on it and spin it without having to mess with a pair of pliers, or a socket set would work. So we'll put the nut right back on there, and the little washer. Don't know if you can see that or not, but it doesn't really matter. And then you've got one more screw that connects the connecting arm. This screw is different from all other screws on the Fulton Sunvisor. It is a little shorter, and it has the same head as the centers have on these, but it's a little bit shorter, about a 1/4 of an inch shorter. It needs to be shorter to go into this little connecting arm, and you'll have to find that exact screw or get one the same length as the center and then trim it off a little bit so it can still fit in there. We'll set that aside and come back to it. Now you've got a visor that's a little easier to work with. You've got 3 set screws on the center. It doesn't matter which order you take them out. Just get a screwdriver head in there somehow and get them out of there. They should spin right out easily for you. I've never had center set screws that were impossible. They're hard to get back in sometimes. You'll have to really pinch the top and the bottom panel together in order to get it to bite. So you've got your 3 screws, 1, 2, and 3, and we'll set those up top there. So now you've just got a sandwich. You've got your bottom plate, and we'll set that right there. And all sorts of little goodies from 1948 are in there, spider trappings and etc., etc. And there's your top. And we're going to take that right out. We're going to set the panel on the side there for a second. I'm going to show you about this top real quick. The bottom piece is real simple. You've got bends on the bottom, so you actually have to take off a pinch clamp in order to get your bracket arm off, your center arm. Now your center arms are 2 different lengths. The bottom of the Sunvisor always gets your longest length, and it's always curved back to your Sunvisor, like like a smiley face. That would make sense. It would reach it better. So we'll take this bracket off. And I want to tell you real quick about these little screws on the brackets. On the pinch clamps, the screw, the male part of the bolt screw, the two-piece, the male and the female, this is longer than what you'll find that's used on the side brackets. The same barrel bolt, excuse me, but this will be a little bit longer. It's about 1/4 of an inch longer. That is specifically for the pinch clamps. That enables a pinch clamp to widen out a little bit when you put it on, and then bring it in, and then of course to pinch it close together. The small screw from the side arms would not reach that, so you need your special longer screws for the center pinch clamps. And your arm just drops right out like that. Nothing to it. And repeat the process on the other one. Occasionally you'll get 2 screws that are painted or stuck together. Just take a screwdriver on one side, flathead screwdriver on the other side, and gently, without stabbing yourself with a screwdriver, remove the screw. There we go. And those pinch clamps are off. And he's got a little configuration of an old bolt on here that we're going to have to take off. Probably have to cut that off in order to get it off. Most of them will just fall right through like the first one did. So we're going to set that aside. Now to come back to your top real quick. Nice dirty top piece. Your stainless steel strip is real simple to remove. Go to the top of the piece and there's going to be just a little gap right here. And a lot of times it'll be real tight. If it's real tight, I just take a screwdriver from the back side and it comes over the lip, just a little bit of the panel. And I'm just going to take a screwdriver and give it a couple taps, and as you can see, that raised it up a little more. That's where my little handy dandy straight screwdriver comes in, a real small head. I just gently slide it under, and I'm just going to give it a twist and it pops right off. And I'll show you real quick here, once you pop that off, when you go back after you've got your panels painted and all ready to go, it just will snap right back on there, just like that. A little click and it's right back on. And you can take it off to polish and etc. Nice dirty piece. That'll look beautiful when it's all restored. So we're going to set that aside. I want to mention real quick, there's 2 small little gaskets. And these are actually little cork or a little rubber type gasket. And they set into the sun visor on the top sandwich piece. And you can see where this one has come off. Just what I would do is I would remove these, slide a flathead screwdriver underneath like so, remove them off of there, do your restoration on your panel and etc. Take a little bit of silicone or Elmer's glue and attach 1 and 2, and you can mark where those were if you want, and that way you'll kind of know or measure off. But it's just basically in between the 2 sets of screws, the 3 screws, just equal in between. Glue that on there. That makes the panels not rattle and makes them a little bit tighter when it's all put back together. So we're going to set that aside. Center trim. And I'll rake off some of this nice 1948 dirt. And we're going to take it to the center panel real quick. Center panel is connected with 2 connecting arms. They're both made out of aluminum. And these I have not freed up. I do the same thing that I do with all my screws and bolts when I'm playing with Fulton Sunvisors. I'll set my screwdriver in, and I'm going to give it a couple taps to kind of let it free it up a little bit. These are also very fragile little screws, and I have broken off many heads before. If you do break off your head, don't panic. Just take a small Dremel tool or a cutting tool and trim off smooth on the edge, and then you just re-tap your screw if needed. If you need to reuse the screw hole. A lot of times on your applications you won't use the same screw holes that someone had this visor on previously. And small little screws, you can see them, they're just little bitty set screws. Similar to a set screw you'll find on a 4952 Chevrolet Sunvisor to hold the trim on. So 1, 2, these are beautiful little coming right out. I always like it when pieces come right out. I've spent a lot of minutes on fussing with tough ones. This has been an easy one so far. So we've got those out, and I give us a little tap on the bottom edge not denting it. I'm just kind of freeing up that dirt, maybe paint, and give it a little tap, and then we'll see if we can wiggle it out. A lot of times they will, a lot of times they won't. If they don't right away, what I'll do is take a little bit of WD-40 and I just spray it on the rod at both angles so it kind of runs down the tube there, and that might free it up. Just spray it right so it runs right down there, and we'll let that sit for a second. A lot of times it's just plain dirt that's holding it. If they don't come apart for you freely, you're going to gently take this over to the floor. I'm going to move the camera here for you. You got to be really careful when you do this. Take it to the floor, and you're just gently going to hold down that panel and get your hands in between and try to free it up so it will wiggle apart. This has now decided to be one of our tough ones. And I can feel it as it comes, and I'm holding down just gently with my foot, not to bend the visor because it's aluminum, and so it came right out. We've tug-of-warred with them before between two people, and that can be a lot of fun, but usually they'll come right out if you put some WD-40 on it and let them sit. Just saturate it and let it sit. The connecting rods are real simple to come out. If they're stuck, this one really isn't, but I'll show you. Just take a pair of vice grips or pliers and just give it a little spin, and as you're twisting a little bit, you're just going to kind of back it out, and it will usually pop right out. Occasionally you get a tough one like that one. There's your connecting rod, and this one of course wants to come right up by hand. So we'll set those panels aside. On the connecting rods, I want to show you real quick. You can just take some steel wool and they will polish up really nice. They are also made out of aluminum, but there is something special, and you'll see that in the instruction sheet that it mentions the red tip, yellow tip connecting rods. One is top and one is bottom, and you can see this yellow and red possibly there. They do denote each other. They are shaped a little bit differently. They're the same length, but the screws holes are going to be offset just a little bit because of the bend. So that's real simple. Your connecting rods are apart. Let's go to the panels real quick if I haven't bored you enough yet. On your bracket pieces, we'll take those apart. And your bracket pieces are fairly simple. Your nut has come off already, like so. We'll take that nut off, and you've got a spacer with a cap. There, I just put a pair of or a screwdriver underneath, twist, and it'll come right up. That bushing comes out also, and then we'll clean that up, polish it up, and make it look pretty. Now that's revealed the back side underneath the dirt of your bracket. 4 little tabs that are just bent over like so. They can go either way, but when they come from the factory, they will be bent like so. Bent out. Doesn't really matter, but all you're going to do is go a little bit underneath them and straighten them up, because you need them all straight up and down for that button to come off to reveal the head of your screw. And you've got them straight, then I just give it a little poke and voila, comes right out. Clean these up, take care of your buttons in the center, and we'll set all these little pieces aside. Now for the screws that connect your bracket with your back plate, we'll take those off real quick, and once again I will use my finger on the back side as kind of a holding that screw head on the other side. There it goes. If that spins in your finger, you may have to get the other screwdriver out and work with that real quick. But these loosened up real nicely. Sometimes you'll find 5, 6, 7 coats of paint on there and about 40 years of grease and grime holding it together. Those pop right out, reveals your connecting plate and your screws and bolts. We'll set those aside, and voila, there you are. We'll polish these up and make them look nice. This little clip on the connecting arm is one that will break and deteriorate a lot and basically just rust into little pieces. You can get these at Lowe's also. They may not be exactly the same shape, but they will hold your screw, or get a matching screw that you like. I recommend stainless screws because they won't bleed on your visor when you're all done with your project, all painted and etc. So that's basically all there is to it. You can take apart your Fulton. Now it's ready for restoration, etc. If you need any helps or tips, you can contact us at loopystuff.com, or you can reach us by email at loopystuff@gmail.com. You can call us on the phone if you like, toll free, 1-888-379-1540. I hope that helps you. And we sure love visors on cars and trucks. We believe it makes the ride just look special. So anyway, enjoy your sun visors, and thanks for watching.